here we go. What's up, Marks? Welcome to episode 216 of the F and Marks podcast.
I'm Jay.
And I am the brainless one.
Right.
That was. Ooh.
So
I channeled my inner Chris Russo. I was very proud of myself.
Right.
Got quite the bit to get into this week.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing our NXT Takeover predictions for next week's two-night show because we're not going to have another show before then, before WrestleMania. So we're going to get our predictions for that. We're also going to discuss, we'll dive in a little bit onto what has changed in the WrestleMania card because there has been a couple of changes to that.
Yep.
We are going to talk about something that happened on Monday night that pissed me off severely, and I know it pissed off a lot of other people in the WWE fan nation, the WWE universe, I should say. I'm sorry, I disrespected WWE fans. We're also going to be talking about a huge surprise in regards to Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions and the episode that will be airing right after WrestleMania Night 2 on April 11th. I'm stunned. See what
Man, brilliant.
And just anything else that's wrestling related, anything but AEW, because fuck AEW.
I'm not gonna go with fuck AEW. We're on the All Elite Marks page. I'm just, you know what? It's WrestleMania season. All the things that are super pertinent to professional wrestling right now are WWE centric, at least for us.
You are definitely the voice of reason. I am the voice of anarchy. That's what's funny about this. And it's been like that for almost 5 years now, Jay. 5 years that we've been doing this podcast. It has been, you're the voice of reason. I am the voice of anarchy.
Yeah. What's up, Monsef? Thanks for tuning in, man.
What's up, Monsef?
He's saying, well, I mean, once we get into stuff, to start with Raw, but we'll deal with we're gonna get to Raw, but we're gonna deal with the odds and ends, news and notes that are happening.
Yeah.
So,
the first thing I think we'll just make the huge announcement now. It's not really a huge announcement.
It's already been announced.
It's already been announced. Yeah. So for the next episode of the Broken Skull Sessions, by the way, if you haven't tuned into those, please check those out. They're fantastic. Very in depth. I love watching them.
You know what? Austin goes anywhere and everywhere, and no topic is taboo. He'll hit anything and everything.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, I was curious who they're going to keep bringing into this thing and all this stuff. And I'll tell you, this name is pretty impressive of who they got for the next episode of Broken Skull Sessions.
And who is he, brainless one?
He is the goat of goats, who has goated more than goats have ever goated in the history of goatdom. 2 goats on the Broken Skull Session. I mean, the last time they had a Broken Skull Session, 2 goats were on there too. And the first Broken Skull Session, they had 2 goats on there. And I'm pretty sure the goat Kurt Angle was also on there. So they might as well just call it the goat and skull section. Did I get that right?
You were close. You were close.
The goat.
It was, for a brainless person, that was close enough.
I'll take it.
But Chris Jericho, AEW superstar,
wrestler. They're not superstars.
AEW superstar Chris Jericho is going to be on the Broken Skull Sessions. The thing that's even crazier about this is there was an okay given by Vincent Kennedy McMahon, not once, but twice. So when he says this is such good shit,
it is such good shit.
Right here that he's talking about is such good shit.
I am so excited for this one.
And no topic is out of bounds here. They could talk about anything they want. So it's clear on WWE television, they're going to have an extended segment where they talk about AEW, not just a one-off mention.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. I know that you and I have kind of been on this boycott of the WWE Hall of Fame because,
I am on the boycott of the Hall of Fame forever.
I've been on the boycott, and it's like, I'm going to make an exception when Chris Jericho gets in because I know for a fact that Hall of Fame induction speech is going to be legendary. And I kind of want to see when The Undertaker goes in too. So, but other than that, I'm not really excited for the Hall of Fame. But to go back to where my point was going, I'm excited for this. It's Chris Jericho, and anything goes. Do you think he's going to be drinking vodka?
I think he's going to have a little bit of the bubbly with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
This is going to be great.
The thing with this is just the little things I'm seeing and perceiving with AEW and WWE. Tony Khan has been very adamant, and he's been out there saying, hey, my door's open. I'll work with anybody and everybody. That includes WWE. What has been happening lately, when DDP first helped out with Cody when they did, I think it was All Out.
Yep.
DDP was more or less banned from WWE for a while. And recently, DDP was not only on AEW TV, but really shortly after that, he was on WWE TV. He was on, I think it was, what's it called? Bump? Take a bump.
Yep.
So he was on that. Eric Bischoff, a few weeks ago, was on AEW television for that segment with MJF and Chris Jericho.
Yep.
And then, a week later, they announce him into the Hall of Fame, and he's back on WWE TV. WWE sent out a survey to their fans asking specifically if they knew what AEW was, and a whole bunch of other wrestling organizations. So it feels like they're testing the waters to see, all right, how many people know about this? How many people are kind of plugged into this? Maybe, I'm not saying soon, but maybe we're going to eventually get AEW and WWE working together. Obviously, AEW has been working with Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and NWA. So could we see them working with WWE? I could see them using Jericho as they lead to bring something like that together, just specifically because the WWE audience knows who he is. So maybe this is just paving the way for that to happen. WWE is making money hand over fist right now. They had their most profitable year last year, and now they, sold the rights to
the WWE network
to Peacock for $1 billion. They have a ton of money. They don't necessarily need stuff for money, but if they were trying to, let the rest of the wrestling industry float up with them and make the whole thing better, it's this could be Vince McMahon extending the hand of all right, you beat us on Wednesday night. All right. Speaking of which, NXT is now officially moving to Tuesdays starting April 13th. And with that announcement, they also talked about extending a multi-year deal with NXT on the USA Network.
It's good stuff. It's such good shit. I mean, you got to find a way to watch NXT, because it's not like I can watch it on Peacock. I got the app, but I can't even watch it on my fucking television because they did this. And I've said this before. I know I've been chirping about this for a while, but it bothers me. The fact that I'm giving my hard-earned money like I was doing with the WWE Network to give to Peacock, and they didn't work out all the kinks before they transitioned from the network to Peacock. And now that they're talking about how the whole library is not going to be on Peacock until August. By the way, speaking of which, how does one get the job to be the intern or whoever it is at Peacock that is going to have to go through all this footage of professional wrestling for WWE to figure out what can and can't be put on the network, because they are censoring a bunch of shit from WWE.
What from the Attitude Era is going to be able to stay?
I look at
almost
it like,
nothing.
I look at it like this, Jay. It's kind of like how with this whole cancel culture that we have going on right now, where everything's just getting canceled out because people are getting their feelings hurt. It's like Blazing Saddles. If they did it, like if they actually cut out all the bad shit from Blazing Saddles, you could watch it in 15 minutes. And that's what that's exactly what the Attitude Era is. You're basically going to get Mick Foley as Mr. Sacco in the hospital room with Vince McMahon, and then Austin hitting him with the pea pan. That's going to stay. I doubt the beer truck makes it. I mean, it's going to be hard pressed. The milk truck will definitely make it.
Almost anything with DX, is going to get axed
because they've already. I see what you did there. Axe.
I wonder what's going to happen of Clash of the Champions 13.
They're only getting rid of all the stupid.
Yeah. Monsef, I'm not sure about what's going on in your area of the world, but in the United States, the rights for the WWE Network were sold to NBC, and they have an app called Peacock. And that is now where everything WWE related, as far as the WWE Network is concerned,
in this country,
is going to be airing. It might be also within Canada too.
Canada, huh?
But
made it.
Yeah.
I've already been made. By the way, don't eat brown snow. I saw the picture that you did. That kind of like he kind of like spruced up our picture for the podcast. I thought it was an excellent job. It looked fantastic.
No, you know what? Don't Eat Brown the Snow does, like, his artwork is fantastic. Like, he posts this stuff. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Dude's got game. David chiming in saying that he used to work for them and just kind of said that the folks who were managing WWE Network, like, they fired the three of them because they stopped having stuff to do, as far as uploading content and things like that. So
I was just curious because I just want to sit there and I want to get paid to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think? I don't know. I'm going to kind of have to watch WrestleMania 17 one more time.
I'm going to have to watch Clash of the Champions yet again to see the greatest time. I mean, Tom Zenk against primetime Brian Lee. Come on, man. That's classic stuff. The Black Scorpion in his magic tricks. I mean, you have Sting, Jim Ross, and Paul Heyman all trying to make this work. All of them. And what happens? It was golden shit.
That's why it's in our Hall of Fame, Jay.
It's so good.
It has to be in our Hall of Fame.
Such good shit.
You know who else is in our Hall of Fame? Is this gentleman right here, Lando motherfucking Calrissian.
Yeah.
A.K.A. Billy D. Williams. A.K.A. the 40 don't get you, the 5 will.
Got that right.
I'm sorry, real quick. Since I did mention WrestleMania 17, and this year is WrestleMania 37. What is next year?
WrestleMania 38. I know you're excited for that.
I'm telling you right now, they will miss a golden opportunity if they don't have the Iron Sheik in the ring at WrestleMania 38 next year.
So, Monsef, as far as ESPN goes, ESPN was in talks with WWE about having the rights to the WWE network, but WWE got a better offer from NBC, so they took it. So,
well, my only thing, David, is like I understand why they made the move, and it's a great financial move in Vince's regard and how that stuff is. My problem is that you have this network that's just it's practically brand new. You got this new toy here, and you're going to give it all these updates and everything where they're adding the WWE network. And it's like, yeah, I understand. Like, it's going to take some time for you to get used or to get all of the material you need from the WWE network, transition over to Peacock, because Peacock is not going to be as lenient with the stuff that WWE has done over the years with their material because they don't want certain shit on their thing.
I mean, Sable is going to be written out of the history of WWE as far as WWE Network is concerned.
Same thing with Brian Pillman. There's not going to be a promo that Brian Pillman, that moment where he pulls out the gun when Steve Austin shows up at his house, not going to be on the network.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Brian Pillman has done in his entire career that's going to be on Peacock. And
that when he was flying Brian.
Okay, yes,
that will
right.
end up there. But
Brian
when he was in WWF, when he was in WWF, that'll be a no-go.
They're going to basically have like 19 minutes of content from ECW. Yeah. And it's going to be the Sandman's match against the Zombie and anything that doesn't include New Jack, Terry Funk, Mick Foley, and any of those guys. But my main problem is that I have Peacock. I paid for Peacock mainly because I need The Office and Parks and Rec in my life because I can't live without Ron Swanson. And now the WWE is now going to be on the Peacock. I don't understand why you didn't figure out like why doesn't Peacock have an app on the Fire Stick? A lot of people have Fire Sticks now. I have a Fire Stick. I can't watch Peacock. The only way I can do it is on my phone, and that's silly. Why would you do it? And if you were going to do it, wait till after WrestleMania. You got so many people who are going to have a chance to. That's your biggest show of the year, and you're going to wait. You're going to move it. That's the first like exclusively on Peacock pay-per-view is going to be WrestleMania, and especially because your last pay-per-view Fastlane, a lot of people were complaining about it being on Peacock. Monsa, Fire Stick is a little device that you can add to your television, or some of the newer ones actually have the Fire Stick built into it, where you can actually it's from Amazon, and you can just have like instead of just hooking up a cable box or anything like that, you have apps. You can put your Hulu, your Netflix, your at the time WWE Network, ESPN, just all these different things you can just have downloaded on there, and it just makes it easier.
Sure,
and I enjoy having it.
All right, so David is saying basically that they were having problems with the network, and now basically Peacock has taken on the problem of the network. And so it says for the user, it sucks. They cut a ton of staff, but still look golden in the book. So basically it's, for the investors are like, oh, look at how good they're doing. They just got this ginormous this deal that they made, and guess what? They will look good. I mean, it was a $1 billion deal over 5 years. I mean, good for Vince McMahon, who is still a cagey businessman, but when it comes to some of his booking, especially what happened on Monday, there are certainly some problems.
Really quick, Andy asked a question. Picture this. The Samoan SWAT team, which is also known as the Head Shrinkers, versus the Authors of Pain, versus the Legion of Doom, versus Doom, who wins in a fatal four-way. Well, first of all, the Authors of Pain will probably get hurt during the match, so they're not going to be part of the equation. Rikishi probably couldn't jump on the top rope anyway, but I'm sorry, even when it's also the Legion of Doom, they're the greatest tag team of all time, so obviously.
I would tend to agree, but you know what? I'm going to go out there on a limb, and I'm going to go with Doom, because damn, I love Ron Simmons, and I love me some Hacksaw Butch Reed. I recently rewatched Clash of the Champions 10, not 13, 10. It was the one where it was Doom putting their masks on the line against the Steiner brothers. Mm-hmm. And it was also the one where Sting ended up getting his knee injured. He was supposed to go against Flair. It was when the Four Horsemen decided they were going to kick Sting out of the Horsemen.
I gotcha.
It was not Clash 13 bad, so it was, it was actually an all right show. But I remember the hype for Clash 10. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been Buzz Sawyer's next to last appearance in WCW. And if you watch Undertaker in his first Broken Skull session, I think talked about how Buzz Sawyer took a whole bunch of money from him and didn't really do much training with him. He just took his money. And Undertaker talked about, well, we just learned things along the way. So, yeah.
Where Mad Dog was going to what?
Fly! He did fly. Yeah. Good times, man. Good times. So, anyway, this Monday on Monday Night Raw, one of the worst atrocities as far as a faction and as far as storytelling goes happened. And Kennedy McMahon was the only person in the world who wanted this to happen. Only person.
To a point where the two most prominent members of this faction were actually very vocal in trying to fight to keep the faction together.
Get to it.
Bobby Lashley and MVP were very vocal and tried to plead with Vince about keeping it there. But to no avail. The Hurt Business, as MVP says, is not dead. It is downsized. I'm really pissed off about this. I really pissed off on this. They had a really good thing going. The Hurt Business was money. You know, everybody on there was doing good things. They had the tag team titles. They had the WWE Championship. They had the chance and the opportunity to really head into WrestleMania with this.
They could have been the Shield of today. They could have.
All right, Mount Seth, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, it's late over in your part of the world, so we get that, man. But, you know, this is my belief on what happened here. WrestleMania is going to be the first show in over a year where they have fans. I think Vince McMahon was frightened to death that Lashley was going to be the one cheered in this match, because I think he understands there's a lot of love for the Hurt Business. And when you got your baby face going against the heel champion and he wins the match and gets booed because they would rather have the man from the Hurt Business, the best faction in the wrestling business, win or have him lose, the crowd is not going to be happy about that. I think this is completely having to do with Drew McIntyre is going to win at WrestleMania, and Vince doesn't want him to be booed.
He's going to get booed regardless, Jay. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying that is specifically that's why this is happening.
But the problem is he is still going to get booed, and it's because of the fact that they had their chance, and they should have. If you wanted to have fans there, you should have freaking not had Drew McIntyre. I mean, granted, I understand that he won the Royal Rumble last year, so you're kind of like your hand was kind of forced, and it's like, and he was the champion of the fanless era and the Thunderdome era, but it's like you took the title off of him, and you took it off of him in a stupid way, and then you gave a title to a guy for 8 days, kind of transitional champion, so to speak, and then you put the title on a guy who was well deserving of the championship, who should have had it years ago because he deserved it then. And then now you're going to have your top babyface probably go over on Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania to win back the WWE Championship in front of the fans. And the problem is that you're doing with Drew McIntyre exactly what you did with Roman Reigns, with John Cena, where you're just shoving him down everybody's throat. And people are going to start turning on McIntyre because he's going to – that's just how Vince does it. Vince is the worst at getting the temperature of the room, so to speak. He doesn't read the room very well because it's like he had a chance with Roman Reigns a year before he pulled the trigger on Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns was in that Rumble that Dave Bautista should not have won, Roman Reigns
that everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to win. They booed Rey Mysterio.
I know that's the only time Rey Mysterio has ever been booed in WWE. And they wanted Daniel Bryan, but Roman Reigns was on fire, and people were behind him at that moment. That's when you're like, you know what? Let's call an audible because this makes more sense. Let's have Roman Reigns win this Royal Rumble. And because of the fact that Vince was like, well, hey, people were all over Roman Reigns, let's just start jamming him down everybody's throat. Because you know why? That's such good shit, pal. And it's Vince just doesn't know. I think Vince at this point now is just so old in his ways that he doesn't know how to read a room anymore. And like how Stephanie comes out here and says, like, we listen to the fan.
To be fair, there hasn't been a room to read in the last year. And also, I'm going to put a caveat to that.
Okay.
When they do the Thunderdome, they actually have a thing where they put prompts to the audience members to do certain things at this point. So they're doing their best to steer the audience into a specific direction. And obviously, they could pipe in whatever sound they want.
Yes.
Along with that, when the fans start really showing up next Saturday, they can't do that crap anymore. And I think specifically with the Hurt Business, this is him trying to steer the ship in the direction he wants. I have a lot of respect for Drew McIntyre.
I do too.
He is a deserving champion.
He really
is. But if Lashley and Hurt Business are getting over, let them get over. Don't cut out their legs. It's like all those years ago when Cesaro was getting over on his own by doing the giant swing, and then you give him Paul Heyman to be his mouthpiece. He was getting babyface reactions, and you gave him a heel manager. What the hell did you do that for? The only possible conclusion at the end of that should have been Cesaro versus Brock Lesnar. We never got that match. That whole thing didn't make sense. You ended up killing Cesaro. You ended up killing his momentum. And here we are all these years later. And finally, Cesaro might have a moment, at WrestleMania.
Oh, the one thing about Cesaro for WrestleMania next weekend, him and Rollins is the match I'm looking forward to the most. Because him and Rollins are going to have a freaking brawl. And it is going to be entertaining. And those two are going to have a hell of a match. And there's one other match in the card that I'm super excited for. And it's ironic how...
Were you excited for Seth Rollins' suit yesterday?
Seth Rollins' suit... The only thing that I've seen...
It should go in the Hall of Fame like now.
The only thing that was worse than Seth Rollins' suit from last night was those pants that Austin Theory wore a couple weeks ago on NXT. Those things, the pants that he stole from the Blue Meanie, and it's just like, no.
Yeah.
They were terrible. And David, I do agree. It does have to do with all the money. And it's like, at the end of the day, Vince only cares about one thing, his pocket, and how much money he can put in his pocket. And the problem is...
Why do you think he just bought up a whole bunch more of WWE stock? Why do you think... there's a thing called insider trading. And if you do things that like where something's about to happen,
mm-hmm.
Something's happening.
Something's happening.
And then you do something because you know it will enrich you. Mm-hmm. It's like...
Yeah.
There's some shady shit going on. Vince knows what's going on, so he sits there and buys more stock, knowing that the stock's about to go up.
You know what's funny? You know who has not bought WWE stock since they've started dabbling in the stock game? This guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna.
Vince McMahon is going to constantly own at least 51% of this company, and so nobody will be able to have say over what goes on. Now, technically, right now, there's a board of governors based off of the fact that they're a publicly traded company. That every year, I don't know if it's every year, but like Vince signs a contract to be the CEO of the company, where I believe his salary is less than the Beavers. I think he makes like $2.1 million as CEO of the company, to have the dinosaur head on his wall and make stupid decisions like break up the Hurt Business. But he makes most of his money off his investment in the company.
Board of directors is paid by Vince.
See? So when it comes to all of these wonderful, wonderful things, like, and over the years we've done this podcast, I've been extremely conflicted about WWE. I was pissed off when the pandemic came down last year on the whole world, and when they were trying to blame the layoffs and the firings that they did on the pandemic, when I think anybody who knew anything knew that them doing house shows actually lost them money. So that the fact that they stopped doing house shows, it's like, so they're not losing money on house shows, but somehow they're losing money. I'm like, that doesn't compute with me. They're still making money hand over fist because of their rights deals with NBC, aka USA Network, and Fox. They were making a whole ton of money. And when they cut all those people, saying it was because of the pandemic, like, I was like, I don't know if I could watch this stuff anymore. I was so like pissed off. They cut Curtis Axel.
That was a very sad day for me.
Yeah.
They cut Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was there for a long time. And Zack Ryder was a dude who everything that Vince McMahon asked him to do, he did, except for get pushed.
Yeah.
That's how, Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, got his release. Or no, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't, because he got released before that. I apologize. Because I forgot, because he made his debut about a year ago, a couple weeks ago.
But anyway, there were several performers that were released under the belief that it was because of the pandemic and WWE was not making the money that they would have if they continued doing house shows. And it's like, we know house shows weren't making money. Televised shows, if they were doing like live Raw and SmackDown from a city, yes, those would tend to sell pretty well. They would sell a decent amount of merchandise. But outside of that, if they would do a show Thursday night in Norfolk,
mm-hmm.
The place would be half full.
Yep.
So, they have to pay a rental fee for the arena.
Yep.
Some of the wrestlers, they have to pay for their travel and pay for them to be in a hotel. Not all of them.
But they have to pay the people to actually, your employees are actually working the shows, the referees, the guys that put the rings together, the guys that work backstage, all that stuff.
But when it all comes down to it, they let go of a bunch of people who didn't need to be let go, as far as like, if you're speaking like of survival of your business, it was not survival of WWE's business a year ago to let go of all those people. They tried to make it seem like that. It wasn't even close.
And that is a really good point too, David. They were released because they wanted their characters to go in different directions other than being killed by Vince, or they asked for their release, which is why 90% of them are on AEW now. And that is a really good point too, because if you think about it, Miro was somebody who made the jump to AEW after he got his release. I'm trying to think of like other people, because there was a lot of people who got released at that time. Zack Ryder went to Impact. Same thing with Kurt Hawkins. And now they're working with AEW and everything. And that's a problem that AEW is going to be having, because it's very similar to what Impact was doing back in the day, where they were bringing in all these guys who were just cast-offs from WWE and just making them stars. Same thing with what WCW was doing back during the Attitude Era, where they were just like, oh, you just got released by Vince McMahon? Well, here, we'll bring you in. Here's a shit ton of money and give you creative control. Which all this stemmed from creative control. If you think about it, we wouldn't even be discussing AEW if Vince McMahon had just allowed Cody Rhodes to go back to being Cody Rhodes and not Stardust. That's how...
Wait. Thank you, Vince McMahon, for being too much of a micromanager and having to have complete control of everything. Without that, we wouldn't have AEW. Without that, NWA wouldn't happen. Without that, Ring of Honor doesn't happen. I'm glad he went too far, and now there are now a bunch of different choices for you, me, and all of you to have, so you could choose the wrestling you want, you like. I've talked about it before. We've talked about it before, where WWE is the vanilla. Vanilla every year is the most popular brand of ice cream. Not my favorite.
Not my favorite, but not by
you give me vanilla. I'm not offended. I'm okay with it. If you want to know my personal preference, I like a lot of the either European strong style or watching the Japan strong style, because it feels more real. Watching the Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre matches, I freaking love them. Those are the types of things that draw me in. It feels like a legit beef, a legit brawl between two dudes who don't like each other. I love that stuff. See, it's such good shit.
And for me, I am a huge fan of like the guys who can entertain me in a wrestling match. Guys like the Johnny Garganos and the Adam Coles and the Ricochets are guys that I enjoy watching. And I'm also a huge fan of tag team wrestling, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy watching NXT and AEW, because both of them have tremendous tag team divisions, as opposed to what the main roster is. Because if you look at what the main roster is for the 2 tag team title matches for WrestleMania next week, it's going to be, you got the New Day going up. What's the 3?
There is a third tag team title, the women's tag team title, which it appears at this point we're going to, similarly to the North American title match coming for NXT Takeover, it looks like we're going to have a match the first night of WrestleMania that's going to decide who is going to
fight Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax
for the tag team titles.
And it's going to basically be Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. I'm assuming it's also going to include Natty and Tamina Snuka. And it's also going to include the Riot Squad. And my guess is they'll probably find somehow, some way to put Lana and Naomi as a tag team.
Well, I mean, that's what happened on SmackDown last night. So
it is.
There are things like that are going on and brewing.
And then what they could have had at WrestleMania, and they're not going to do it, is they're going to have a fatal 4-way tag team title match for the SmackDown titles, as Ziggler and Rude are going to take on the team of Otis and
Alpha Academy,
which is Otis and Chad
Gable.
Chad Gable, thank you. And then you got the Street Profits, who I fucking love those guys. And then you got the Mysterios.
Yeah,
they're going to do it, aren't they?
Mysterios are going to win the title.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because it's the title that has eluded Ray his entire career. I don't think. Oh wait, no, he did win the title.
Didn't he win it with like
Batista? He won the tag team titles.
That's right, and that's when Batista turned on him and killed him,
beat the shit out of him. Yes. Yeah, because that's the thing to do is if you ever want to get heat, just beat the shit out of Rey Mysterio.
Right.
Unless it was the Royal Rumble in 2014. Him not showing up is the best way to get him booed. Oh,
right.
Never mind. Sorry.
Anyway. I
mean, I will say this, and then we'll move on to the next subject. The best part about AEW is, if it wasn't for AEW, I would not know what an Orange Cassidy was. And Orange Cassidy is phenomenal. And it's also a good spot because guys like Hangman Page, who have never had exposure to the American audience because he was based solely in Japan, because that's where he made a name for himself in New Japan. The pride of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Hangman Adam Page. Let me just put that out there. Represent. But I mean, granted, we not the drawback to this is we get dirt face Kenny Omega is the biggest guy in wrestling, even though he was ranked 14th in PWI's ranking to the front.
John Moxley gets to do what
John Moxley
he wants to do. Yeah. You get a bunch of people who are very talented, very creative, being able to do what they want to do. Now, I'm going to say, like, lately, like, I still enjoy AEW, but it's a bit of a train wreck. There are 137 different factions in AEW. 137.
That was something I know we didn't want to bring up AEW, but like, why the fuck is QT Marshall getting his own stable? And let me ask you this other question that's kind of blown my mind. Who the fuck is QT Marshall? Seriously,
he was part of the Nightmare Collective.
That don't mean
or
shit.
The Nightmare family.
QT Marshall looks like somebody who experienced having his wisdom teeth removed the day before, and that's what his face looks like all the time.
Yeah,
he just looks like a chubby guy.
Yeah,
he just doesn't. I'm like, who the fuck is QT Marshall? Why does he got a fucking faction? This is what bothers me about AEW is they do stupid shit like this. Like, who the fuck is a QT Marshall? QT Marshall should have been nominated for Worst Wrestler of the Year because nobody gives a fuck about QT Marshall.
Yeah,
you don't forget he's part of the thing. QT Marshall sounds like a fucking business.
QT Marshall is like the Duke Droese of this era.
Stop right there. Don't disrespect Duke Droese like that.
I don't think there's any disrespect that you can give to Duke Droese that he hasn't already felt.
To this day, I'm convinced that every person who watched WrestleMania 17, who came up with the idea that if they're going to watch it with a bunch of their buddies, and I'm not talking about Big Josh, and they put together a list of the picks to who you think's going to win every match at WrestleMania, I bet you if we go back to that day, which has just happened recently, the anniversary of WrestleMania 17, 20 years ago, I'm pretty sure that if you went to every single person who picked a winner, I must be the only person on the planet, other than Duke Droese himself, who picked Duke Droese to win the Gimmick Battle Royal at WrestleMania 17. In hindsight, I should have thought about it. I should have used more common sense.
You should have listened to the brain.
I should have had more common sense and realized that the Iron Sheik can't take any bumps, and that if he's in this match, he's not going to get eliminated. And honest to goodness, if I had known better, I probably would have taken Hillbilly Jim, which would have made more sense because he was the last person eliminated. Somehow the Iron Sheik lifted him. The second best part about that match was watching the Iron Sheik eliminate Hillbilly Jim using zero energy because he couldn't really lift him up. The best part about that match was the fact that Bobby Heenan was calling it, and he got one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. By the time the Iron Sheik gets in the ring, it's going to be WrestleMania 38. I still, to this day, 20 years later, laugh at that fucking line. Mention it in any possible moment. And that's I'm going to end it on that.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
I'll go on like a long tangent about other stuff, and I don't want to do that.
So, all right. So, Monday Night Raw had a few things go on. One of which that did happen. We had a stipulation added to the Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman match at WrestleMania.
This was. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Thanks for tuning in. And so far, we've only talked about the Hurt Business breaking up and the GOAT of GOATs, who's GOAT more than GOATs have ever GOATed in the history of GOATdom, being on the Broken Skull session the Sunday, the night 2 of WrestleMania after WrestleMania. And we were just about to get into some stuff that happened on Raw this week.
Yeah?
So I apologize, sir.
So Shane and Strowman have a new stipulation.
Crazy thing about this, did not realize that when they have their match at WrestleMania next weekend, that will be the first steel cage match at WrestleMania since
WrestleMania 2.
WrestleMania 2.
And who is that match with?
Some guy named Hulk Hogan. I don't know if you remember him. Do you know who Hulk Hogan is?
Brother.
And a guy
who's the host, brother, of WrestleMania next week. Brother.
And a guy who should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy who should have been WWF champion at some point in his career, and a guy I hold very near and dear to my heart.
And was related to
One of the
Al
greatest,
Bundy.
Is the cousin of a guy who once scored 4 touchdowns, not in a single season, but in one game. King Kong Bundy.
Al 4 touchdowns.
Al
Bundy.
4 touchdowns in a single game. Bundy. Polk High's greatest alum.
Right.
But yeah, King Kong Bundy. I was taken aback by that. I did not realize that they haven't had a steel cage match
They've
at
had
WrestleMania.
like Hell in the Cell.
They've done Hell in a Cell a bunch of times at WrestleMania. They've had every kind of gimmick match other than a Punjabi prison at WrestleMania that you can think of over the years. They've had boxing matches. They've had
sumo matches.
They've had sumo matches. They've had TLC matches. They've had Hell in a Cell matches. Every match you can think of they had at WrestleMania. This is the first steel cage match at WrestleMania in 35 years. That is incredible to me.
Thanks for tuning in, David. Appreciate you tuning in. And
thanks for
as far as the All Elite Marks page goes, just make sure you set up notifications so whenever we go live, you will see us.
David, thank you
for your insight.
Love the insight, man. Thank you. We really, truly appreciate that.
Yeah.
If I had a beer, I'd drink to that. But I will drink to my Monster for
that. Bringing back Colt 45 for the night podcast.
I will be drinking Colt 45 next week on the WrestleMania edition 217 episode of the F and Marks podcast. I'm excited for next week too. I really am. I'm not going to do anything stupid though.
Yeah?
Just drink.
So another thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, which is one of my top 1 favorite things to not happen on pro wrestling television, happened.
They gave a microphone to Nia Jax.
No, even worse.
They let Shayna Baszler speak.
Even worse. They had a secondary champion lose cleanly in a match just to set up a title match for later. Now, I am not upset with the challenger for this title.
It's a shameful thing, lobster head, a careless man who can wind up dead. Sorry.
So, Sheamus, in my view, after his series of matches with Drew McIntyre, was a completely worthy adversary to go for the U.S. title. I mean, barely losing to the WWE champion. Okay, have him win a match against anybody that's not Marco Stunt and
QT Marshall.
Okay, I will buy that. I will buy that he is a legitimate contender for this other title that is not the heavyweight championship. Why do you need to have him beat Matt Riddle? Why did you have to have Mustafa Ali beat Matt Riddle so he could get a title shot? I mean, honestly, with Ali, what should have really happened is Slapjack should have won and should have gotten the title shot.
See, right? I didn't have a problem with the way Mustafa Ali got the title shot because, like, I know a champion losing, but like it was the second match and all that stuff. So
there were like 2 or 3 different things.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna, at least it wasn't clean.
Right.
This one was like
see for me
because Sheamus beat him cleanly.
See,
there was no chicanery about this match.
See, for me though, Jay, the problem is you're trying to sell it on me, and it's like I'm gonna fucking defend Sheamus every which way I could possibly defend Sheamus.
I love Sheamus.
Sheamus is my favorite wrestler. I fucking love the fella. He's the dude. He's a GOAT. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer, and he needs a goddamn Intercontinental title.
Wrong show.
Don't matter. Should still win the fucking Intercontinental title. The day he wins the Intercontinental title, I'm probably going to celebrate like...
Is it going to be in a Nigerian drug match?
I don't know what the hell it's going to be in. Who the hell knows what the hell it's going to be in? But
when
I'm telling you right now, when he wins the Intercontinental title and becomes a Grand Slam champion, I am going to celebrate the same way our buddy Doug celebrated the Cubs finally win the World Series after a bajillion years of not winning one.
Really? You're going to do that?
Yes. No. My girlfriend, Nicole, would never allow that.
Yeah?
You got a better chance of seeing me pick up sticks with my butt cheeks than you do of me running around naked. Now, when Orange Cassidy finally wins the AEW championship, now that's an entirely different scenario right there. When that happens, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's I'm probably gonna I don't know what I'm gonna do when he finally wins the title, because it's gonna happen. He's gonna be the one that takes it from Omega. Because I called it. I've been calling it for months. I've been calling it over a year. I said Orange Cassidy's going to take the title from Kenny Omega, and then how do you get your biggest heel to become your biggest heel? You have him take the title from Orange Cassidy, and it'll be MJF that does it.
Yeah.
And all the pieces are falling into place. My Punjabi prison is going to finally happen when the man who wrestles with his hands in his pockets becomes the AEW World Champion.
Right.
Right.
I didn't enjoy the fact, like, I love Sheamus.
Same. Lobster head.
He deserved a U.S. title shot. He did not need to win cleanly to get the title shot. Dumb. I hate it. So,
one thing that did happen on Raw, Matt Riddle forgot his lines
with Asuka.
I loved it.
But that was a pre-tape. So, like, I will agree with Vincent Kennedy McMahon here, where he was probably like, ha, 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 ha. That's such good shit, pal. I will agree with her reaction and like, oh, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say, and just, like, going off camera. Fucking brilliant. I loved it.
Bro, I fucking love Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's in the conversation to become my favorite wrestler at some point. Mm-hmm. I fucks with the bro. The OG, the original, or the OB, the original bruh. I love it. And I'll tell you right now, what they should have done was when he forgot his lines, they should have had somebody in the background. Marijuana affects the brain. I love Riddle. And it's probably
smoke.
Yeah, basically, as a former smoker, I am a fan of Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I fucks with Riddle hard. The more I see him, the more I like that dude.
All right. So with the implosion, the ridiculously stupid implosion of the Hurt Business, one of the things that came out of that is we had Bobby Lashley going against Shelton Benjamin this week. And as Lashley should do as a champion going into WrestleMania, he was dominant and won this match. And he's going to have a match with Cedric Alexander next week. And he is going to, complete the decimation and the absolute ruining of the Shelton Benjamin character and the Cedric Alexander character.
Yep.
I mean, Shelton's, closer to the end of his career. Yep. Cedric, on the other hand, has years left. Why do you have to do this? Why did you have to have him lose? He and Shelton Benjamin lose to Drew McIntyre. Why do you have to do it this way? I know Vince isn't a big fan of factions, and he's not a big fan of tag teams, and he's not a fan of tag team wrestling. But, like, Vince, you got to realize there are fans of tag team wrestling. There are fans of factions out there. I mean, I always go back to when you had the Wyatt family going against the Shield. I think it was Royal Rumble, and, like, they didn't even touch. And what was the crowd freaking doing?
They were going,
this is awesome. Nuts. They didn't even touch. It just was everything they did to build up those factions, to build up those characters in the ring facing off to create that moment. And it wasn't Michael Cole going, oh, this is a wrestling moment. This is a WrestleMania moment. That fucking guy, when he says that next week, I am going to, you know what? This will be my Gatsby moment.
Don't break a television, Jay.
The thing is, the television I think, might be indestructible. It might be indestructible.
Allegedly.
And when Michael Cole says, this is the WrestleMania moment, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Want to know why? Because when Hulk Hogan slammed the Giant, I didn't have Gorilla Monsoon or Jesse Ventura saying, oh, well, that was a WrestleMania moment. You know what it would have done in that moment? It would have fucking ruined it. It would have ruined it.
Oh, especially because if they were like, this is a WrestleMania moment after he slammed the Giant, because he slammed the Giant, ran off the ropes, hit a leg drop, and pinned the Giant.
All I could tell you is, Michael Cole, don't tell me it's a fucking WrestleMania moment. If it is a moment that should be a WrestleMania moment, we'll know.
Yeah, we don't need you to.
We'll know. When Edge did a spear to Jeff Hardy while Jeff Hardy was hanging onto the tag team championships, guess what? The commentators didn't go, well, wow, that was a WrestleMania moment.
Same thing in the following year when you had Hulk Hogan and The Rock staring each other down. That in the freaking Sky Dome in Toronto was absolutely melting. Because how incredible of a moment it was. That was a moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't Michael Cole going, hey, that's a moment. Like, fuck you, Michael Cole.
Yes, Tim, this is almost Coco Beware mad. Like, I hate when, well, this is a WrestleMania moment. If Vince McMahon is the person in their ear telling them to say this, then Vince McMahon deserves this venom. But I think it's Michael Cole.
Yeah.
I think it's Michael Cole. Like, let the moment be the moment.
Yeah.
When Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental title. Like,
I fucking lost it.
But, like, at that moment, I think Michael Cole actually said, well, this is a WrestleMania moment for Zack Ryder. Immediately when he said that, I felt less good about it. I felt less good about that moment.
When he says vintage Dominic Mysterio sometime in the next couple months, I am going to find out where Michael Cole is, and I'm going to shove my foot up his ass.
Michael Cole talking about WrestleMania moments, I think is my version of Kenny Omega.
Yeah?
Michael Cole, if somebody is pointing at that sign while you say this is a WrestleMania moment, I might jump through the effing TV. I might find a way to get to Tampa in less than 47 minutes, and I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
Yes!
I don't care if you have the coal mine around you. I am going to do like Undertaker and Triple H did and like destroy that piece of crap and then beat the hell out of you. I'm going to choke you out like Daniel Bryan did to Justin Roberts when the Nexus invaded.
Damn, Jay. That's a lot of venom right there, man. Fuck Michael
Piece
Cole.
of crap.
Fuck Michael Cole. And the Bucktooth.
You know what? And screw Coco Beware.
Yes! And fuck Kenny Omega too. Yes!
Coco Beware was the main event of the first house show I ever went to, and he beat the one-man gang, and screw him.
You poor bastard. I got Hulk Hogan and Earthquake in the main event of the first house show I ever went to. But you know who else was there? Should be WWE Hall of Famer, the Mountie. Although one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Orient Express, was there.
Right.
I know that was one of Sean O's favorite tag teams.
Yes.
I still remember the time where he wanted us to... Never mind. I'm going to be nice.
Yeah?
I'm not going to mention it. But anything else from Raw that we need to touch base on?
Well, so one thing apparently WWE felt to do this week, Shayna Baszler kept on losing matches.
Mm-hmm.
She lost on Monday. She lost last night. Shayna was a dominant NXT Women's Champion.
That's one way to put it.
And I know she doesn't have the greatest mic skills, but you have her and Nia together. Like I almost feel like if you're talking like women's division, they're almost like the Natural Disasters back in the day, where it's like going, you know what, you got these. I know where your brain's going, even though you don't got one.
Nia Jax is a natural disaster. I mean, she's not really a natural, but I mean, she's absolutely a disaster in the ring. But Jesus Christ, that's a hell of a comparison.
Yeah,
I bet you there was a lot of people wondering what avenue I was going to go down with that. Oh, she's a disaster. Yes, I could have made a fat joke too, but I'm going to be nice.
but like if you're talking about like having a couple of dominant forces together, and then you have one of those dominant forces, like I know they were trying to like, oh well, got distracted and got rolled up. You don't get distracted and get rolled up twice in a freaking week.
You're doing your Shayna Baszler.
WrestleMania season is the time where Vince is at his best and dumbest at the same time. And this is one of those things where he's at his dumbest. And the thing is, when you're looking at the totality of WrestleMania, he just needs to get it right once for people to be like, oh, it wasn't that bad of a WrestleMania, to blot out all this stupid shit he's done up until now.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, Nia should do the Earthquake finishing maneuver this year at WrestleMania. Earthquake was my favorite wrestler on the arcade game for WWE. I love being able to do the I'm going to sit on you because I'm fat.
Yeah.
Ending move.
Like Yokozuna.
It was great.
Which was funny, too, about Shayna Baszler, because she lost pretty quickly last night, too, in her one-on-one match that she had. She
against Natty.
Against Natty Neidhart. Now, granted, I mean,
she got distracted. And all
Natty Neidhart is a legend of the women's division.
She
can't
is.
take that away from her. She is a very well-established, and, like, losing to Natty's not the worst thing in the world, and it just led to bedlam and mayhem last night, which is now why we're going to have the match we're going to have, basically, for WrestleMania for the women's tag team titles.
Another, I mean, this has been going on with wrestling for a while, but a trend for WrestleMania season and Takeover season.
Gauntlet matches?
No, but we have that one too.
And we'll make our predictions for the Gauntlet match next week.
We have to make a prediction for the Gauntlet match for this week.
Yeah, that's next week.
This week.
Wait.
This Wednesday night, we have a gauntlet.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The gauntlet match to determine who's going to fight
North American champion
on Thursday. Yeah, what gauntlet match are you thinking I was talking about?
You said we need to make a prediction next week.
I meant for next week's gauntlet match.
No. It's for this week.
It's still the last week.
I guess technically it's Saturday. Tomorrow's the beginning of the week. Jesus rose tomorrow.
And this is
Thank you, Jesus.
This is where Greg and Corey would be chiming in going semantics.
Right.
So I mean they're dead right on that, but that's besides the point.
But one of the trends that they have going, again, not a completely new trend. What did we have happen with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair a couple weeks ago? There are two opponents that are going against each other at WrestleMania.
Oh, God. They're teaming up.
That teamed up. On NXT TV, what did we have? We had two people going for the NXT title. What did they do? They teamed up.
Tag team title. Yeah, there you go.
And we once again, what the heck was the third time when it happened?
I don't know. It was on third. Sorry, Timmy did I think it's a little bit.
But it's happened 3 times between the 3 different WWE shows. 3 times on each of the shows. It's like, are they talking to one another? If they're talking to one another, do they care? Like, for fans like us that watch all of this stuff, it's like, can't you come up with something different?
No.
I don't need you to put these 2 grudging foes in the team to see what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. There's going to be a point in the match where all of a sudden, oh, I don't like you.
At least just be thankful this time, Jay, they didn't put the tag team titles on the two people who are feuding with each other heading into WrestleMania. Because I'm pretty sure they've done that on more than one occasion where they actually had the two guys that were facing each other for a title at WrestleMania go and take the tag team titles from the tag team champions. I want to say Shawn Michaels and John Cena both did it when they were fighting each other at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But
they kept on doing that. Like in the last couple of weeks, it's like,
oh, that shit bothers the fuck out of me. It doesn't make any sense.
You know what? Every once in a while, if you do that, so you can add a little tension. It's like going, okay, every once in a while, but all three shows in within the same few weeks. I mean, with Bianca and Sasha, quite literally, that happened twice.
At pay-per-views.
Twice.
2 pay-per-views in a row.
Like, it's just absolutely stupid.
Yep.
And they've done it with all. Do they have the same writers? Are they talking with each other? I mean, I realize that not every show has the same audience, but at least realize that there is some crossover. Some crossover, right?
Yeah. One of the things that did piss me off, since we're on the subject of shit that really just gets us fired up, and Timmy's right, it is just lazy booking, Jay. So, but one of the things that really pissed me off is one of my favorite matches at WrestleMania the last few years has been the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I was curious as to when they were going to announce it and who's going to be in and all that stuff, because WrestleMania is next weekend. And on Thursday, they announced that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal will not be taking place on the main card. It will not be taking place on the pre-show on either night. No, they're doing the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal SmackDown next week, the night before night 1 of WrestleMania.
They have 2 nights for WrestleMania. I know that the pre-show is starting at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning next week. And when we do our podcast next week, it's going to be into the 10th or 11th hour of the pre-show. I mean, I realize that WrestleMania is bigger than the Super Bowl at this point. There are going to be literally billions of people on this earth watching the show, so they need to have a pre-show that is worthy of all the billions of eyeballs that are going to be on the TV. Thankfully, they've got us to make it better. Thankfully.
And
but they don't have time for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
And I just wanted to put it out there that when they announced it on Thursday that it was going to be next Friday during SmackDown, that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was going to be there. It was actually April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. And I'm like, that's a good one, WWE. And then they posted who was going to be in the match. And I'm like, well, I guess this was a joke. I'm like, the only joke is the fucking people in this match. I'm like, they put Grand Metallica in the match. They put Kalisto. I don't remember the last time Kalisto even wrestled a match. I mean, they put the team formerly known. They put the team formerly known as Retribution in the match. All 4 members.
Slapjack is in the match.
Why doesn't Slapjack get a WrestleMania moment, huh? That's what I have a problem with. Why doesn't Slapjack get a WrestleMania moment this year?
Hey, if the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal ends up with some sort of title match, although I don't see how that'll happen. Intercontinental Champion has a match. U.S. Champion has a match.
The NXT Champion has won a takeover, so that's already happened before that match. And I just, and on top of all that, the people I feel the worst for are Jey Uso, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Ricochet. And Elias, if I'm being honest. Because they all deserve a much bigger platform and a much more high profile of a match than to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal the night before WrestleMania. And it's like Nakamura, I get what they're doing with Nakamura. Elias deserves much better. Elias should just be the musical act for both nights. It would have been tremendous.
If they had Elias sing America the Beautiful, I know Vince holds that song in high regard. And I know, like, whoever sings America the Beautiful, like, Vince thinks America the Beautiful, and I actually agree with him as a song. And as, like, speaking about the United States is a better song than the national anthem. And whoever performs that song is the person.
Yep.
You could have somebody who is a top level performer do the national anthem. Vince loves America the Beautiful, and that is the person. If they had Elias do America the Beautiful,
it'd be tremendous. It would be my good heading into episode 218 of the Up and Marks podcast. Elias singing America the Beautiful.
Elias with the best ever WrestleMania performance.
Unless he actually wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I'm not going to rule out that Elias is going to win it. Although I'm starting to think that it's going to be somebody else. But the fact is that if he, like, ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner, Elias, to perform America, like, that would be tremendous. But they're not going to do that. And I'm actually going to, I'll give my predictions for that real quick.
Yeah,
I think that the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to be Jey Uso, and my dark horse, T-Bar.
Not Slapjack.
Not Slapjack. No, I think Slapjack should be the second or third person out of the match.
Sad.
Yeah.
True. Probably. No, I like Jey Uso as the winner.
I do too. He deserves better than this. It should have been him and his brother fighting for the tag team titles, but that's neither here nor there. Plus, we know Jey Uso is going to get involved in the triple threat match.
Right.
For the title.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's no DQ.
Right.
I mean, now what would really throw people for a loop, part of what we talked about earlier, what if during the triple threat match, Christian showed up?
Oh, God. It never happened.
I'm just saying, if they're allowing Chris Jericho on
Broken Skull Sessions,
Tony Khan gave his thumbs up, Vince McMahon gave his thumbs up. If you really want to have people like, oh my God, they made a big deal about Christian signing with AEW. If Christian came and helped his buddy, the Rated R
Superstar,
win the Universal Championship on WWE programming, you don't make WWE look weak. You don't make AEW look weak. That tinfoil hat, for me, Christian helps out Edge. Tinfoil hat.
Okay.
So, Tim's saying Shinsuke wins. All right. That's not bad.
Is he the first person to become he might be the first person to have won both. Because I know Cesaro won it. I know the Big Show won it. I know Baron Corbin won it. I know Matt Hardy won it. I know, who am I forgetting? Oh, Braun Strowman. I mean, technically, Braun Strowman won the greatest Royal Rumble of all time and the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So that unfortunately,
Sort of.
That kind of, sort of, something dark.
Anyway, something dark.
Speaking
side.
of the triple threat match at WrestleMania, on SmackDown last night, Edge came out and cut a promo to start the show.
Very good.
I loved it. We got the Rated R Superstar last night.
Superstar. Where's Tony Schimmel?
And I'll tell you, my buddy Neil was very upset about it, about this, what they're doing with Edge and everything. And I said, I love heel Edge. Edge is so much better as a heel as he is a face. But at this point in his career, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and people are still going to love him. And Neil was kind of pissed off because Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns both had the opportunity to walk in as a challenger and walk out in the main event and win the championship. Edge never had that opportunity. Edge has never walked out. Oh my God!
F and Marks Hall of Famer
coming
Tommy
from the rubble. What's up, Tommy? Oh my God, we have two Nicholases in the chat at the same time. I don't know what to do. My head's about to explode.
Hey, if we get Teddy in this thing too, that be next level.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a hell of. I'm sorry. Anyway, a hell of a promo by Edge last night. I enjoyed it.
Talking about like he wasn't happy with Daniel Bryan, but it forced him to look in the mirror and finally like he talked about like, yeah, it fired me up. I wasn't happy about Daniel Bryan kind of weaseling his way into this thing, but then talking about how he finally looked in the mirror, liked what he saw, and finally saw the rated R
superstar
again. So I just think it was a great heel promo.
Yeah.
I also know that when the fans are there, it's not going to matter shit.
Yeah.
Just like Hogan versus The Rock.
WrestleMania 18.
Hogan tried to kill The Rock, tried to do as much heelish shit as he possibly could. And what did it mean to the Toronto crowd? Absolutely dick.
Yep.
He was cheered like a babyface champion who was the conquering hero who came home and they were like, yes, you are our man. Just like Roman Reigns when he tried to kill Braun Strowman in the ambulance. SummerSlam.
And Jessica, to your question about do we see Jimmy Uso possibly returning? I've wasted so much breath just saying when I think Jimmy Uso is going to return from injury. Just like I wasted so much breath on
the Monday after WrestleMania.
On when fucking the Fiend was going to come back and all this stuff. I think it's possible. I mean, it's anything. As they said, anything's possible in the WWE.
Thank you, KJ.
But
I'm sorry, KG.
It's. I'm not gonna make that prediction anymore because I really just don't know.
Not gonna work here anymore.
I mean, it makes the most sense. Like if Jey Uso gets taken out and everybody's like, "Oh, Jey Uso's out, the Roman's gonna lose," and then Jimmy comes out, it makes sense. But again, I felt like the Usos should have been fighting the Street Profits for the tag team titles. But what do I know? I'm just a brainless idiot to co-host a podcast.
It'll be at Extreme Rules.
Yes. But
right. So we did have Xavier Woods. So like the New Day and AJ Styles and what is it? Omos,
yes.
They did like a skit that like I wasn't a big fan of. But AJ and Omos kept on losing the silly little games, and AJ ended up having a match against Xavier Woods, leading up. Obviously, you know they're doing what they can to hype up their match for WrestleMania for the tag team titles, and AJ ended up low blowing Xavier Woods, getting DQ'd, but Omos, I mean, it's like when you see a dude that large and when you do a power bomb from that height, it really looks devastating. And Omos did that. And left Woods laying. So as far as building up this match, I actually am going, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the skit beforehand sucked. Terrible. As much as I love AJ, I love New Day, terrible.
Terrible.
The worst. Yeah.
Timmy and Tommy are going at it on our thing.
Oh, great.
This is fantastic.
Tommy is going to do the bonsai drop on Timmy.
Oh, this is great. You could continue talking about the podcast. I'm just going to watch these two go back and forth on the chat. This is fantastic stuff.
One of my favorite memories as growing up, Timmy DDT'd his brother Teddy on the floor in my parents' living room.
Oh goodness,
it was fantastic. It really was because You know how the Viper like drapes the people on the ropes and like kind of
it's a DDT, yeah,
and like does the tap on the back of the head to kind of let them know like you're about to get dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy did that to Teddy, but like Teddy didn't realize that was the sign that like you're about to get dropped. Teddy just was like sprawled out on the ground for I'm gonna say 15 to 20 seconds. It was the first time I had ever seen true like brotherly love and like I'm sorry for what I've done, at least for a moment. Oh my God, Teddy, I'm sorry I did that. And then like Teddy just like laying quietly on the ground finally woke up and like wanted to destroy Timmy, but at the time was not strong enough.
I will say this though.
Tim and Tommy, so good.
Timmy and Tommy, so that yes, it would be like the Dixie Splash,
and the five-star dog
Tim,
splash.
That would definitely secure your spot in the 2021 FN Marks Hall of Fame class. And Tommy, you could be the first ever 2-time FN Marks Hall of Famer with that. So,
good times.
That's my WrestleMania moment.
You know what? And Timmy didn't need to announce it. I knew it was a moment. When his mom flipped out on him, I knew at that moment I was in the presence of something awesome.
But on the exact the opposite end of that spectrum was something that was not awesome last night. Something that we've been waiting for a long time.
It was not The Miz.
It fell flat on its face. And that was, we were waiting for the final product of the documentary that Sami Zayn has been putting together of WWE's beheaded out for me. My conspiracy theory against him and all that stuff. And for whatever reason, Logan Paul showed up last night on SmackDown.
With the red carpet.
With the red carpet and all that bullshit. And Sami Zayn.
Eat my red carpet.
And Sami Zayn dancing around like an asshole to, Logan Paul's. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like Logan or Jake Paul. I really wish that somebody would just take them both out to the back of the woodshed and just put many rounds into them. I'm sorry. I know.
You know who else would like to do that? FN Marks Hall of Famer El Jefe.
You know who else would like to do that? New Jack.
He would do that for free.
I know he would. I'd just pay him in weed. But it's just like we finally got it. It basically led to like we're getting the trailer for it, and then eventually we're going to get the final product of the whole documentary from Sami Zayn.
I hope the one at WrestleMania is better than what we saw.
And Sami Zayn and like Logan Paul was like, I don't even know what I just witnessed and all this stuff. And Logan Paul is going to be at WrestleMania now. So not only are we getting Bad Bunny, but we're getting fucking Logan Paul too. And then Kevin Owens came out and stunned Sami Zayn. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm excited for that match. I'm excited for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And I cannot believe those words are coming out of my mouth. And I'm excited for anything that Kevin Owens is doing other than choking to death on a cupcake. But I'm excited for Sami Zayn. I'm excited for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, just like I'm excited for Seth Rollins and Cesaro, which is funny that the two matches I'm looking forward to the most are Ring of Honor matchups. So,
Seth Rollins and his suit. His suit was... honestly, his suit yesterday was like Nia Jackson, her hole. You're like, what? What is that? What did I just see? What did I just hear?
Something's happening.
Seth Rollins in like a tie-dye suit talking about how Cesaro will never be on his level. There are levels in wrestling, and you're not going to be on my level. To me, at this moment, I'm going to stone cold lead pipe lock Cesaro is winning at WrestleMania.
Oh, easily.
But I did enjoy the fact that Seth Rollins lined up his moments at WrestleMania. Not WrestleMania fucking moments, Michael Cole, you piece of shit. He lined up his moments with the, like, legendary moments. Mega Powers exploding. Andre getting slammed by Hulk Hogan. Moments like that.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, like, Seth Rollins beating the Beast. Seth Rollins injecting himself into the main event. Seth Rollins doing this. Seth Rollins doing that. You're not on my level. I've been to WrestleMania. I'm unshakable. But in the end, when Cesaro's like, I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to swing you more times than you've ever been swung before. And then Rollins said, you know what? I'm going to take your dream. I'm going to, I'm going to ruin your dream tonight. And then Cesaro coming back with the line, take your swing. I was like, all right, Cesaro, I see you. All right, good. Good.
It was good stuff. I enjoyed it, and I'm loving that Cesaro's getting this opportunity and to have a high-profile match at WrestleMania. Yes, even though it's not a title match, fighting Seth Rollins is a high-profile match because he is one of the bigger stars in WWE. And Cesaro deserves this. Cesaro deserves to have this opportunity.
And I'm sure Rollins is like, you know what? I fought this dude all around the world. He deserves an opportunity. The opportunity he missed that they gave to Nakamura, it's more or less like they're still giving it to him. It's just delivered it in a different manner.
Yeah.
So Cesaro deserves a high-profile match like this, and I hope it catapults him to that next level. I hope after this, if Edge is the champion after this, that he goes against Edge. If Roman Reigns is the champion, I hope he goes against him. If it's Daniel Bryan, honestly, I want to see Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli on WWE TV.
For a major WWE championship.
I want to see that match.
Samesies.
So I hope that this is the pedestal, that is the springboard that leads for this to happen.
Agreed, Timmy. I do think that we are going to get tismed out Cousin Jay in a couple weeks after Seth Rollins does beat Cesaro. Not only beats Cesaro, but beats him clean.
Right. He curb stomps him like 5 times and absolutely obliterates him.
Yes. And last night, and last and certainly not least, we got in the main event a street fight between Daniel Bryan and
Jey Uso. This is like the 20th fight they've had in the last 2 months.
Basically since Jimmy Uso went out. And, hell of a match. I mean, the two of them have been delivering every time they had their match. Edge kind of put himself on the commentary team. He basically went in to talk to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville and told them both that I am on commentary. And just like that was it, and just walked out. And they had the match and everything. Daniel Bryan, there was a moment where Daniel Bryan had Roman Reigns in the LeBell lock or the yes lock.
Daniel Bryan stood tall last night.
Yep, which was a very interesting situation. Except that next Friday is going to be where it's all going to happen. Like whoever's standing tall at the end of SmackDown next week, kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
So, but a tremendous match nonetheless, and it led to something. So,
something's going to happen.
Something's happening.
Right. All right.
So, should we get into NXT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my main criticisms of NXT, and it will remain, is when they have a major pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Like, We had Io Shirai on this show and Raquel Gonzalez. But if you're like beyond them, a lot of the headliners were not on the show. They had a hype video package.
Yep.
But this is supposed to be their biggest show of the year.
Yep.
And you don't have Adam Cole, baby, hyping his match against Kyle O'Reilly live on the show.
Mm-hmm.
The video hype package was fantastic. But there is nothing like having the two of them having a stare down in the ring. Karrion Kross is going against Finn Balor. They had a couple of packages for this. This is your main event. Why aren't they on the show together to hype their match?
Why are they not signing a contract for their match? Anything.
Again, the hype package was really good.
Yep.
There's something different when you have them live in the ring doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We did get Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez, and what they did was freaking great. But you have several high-profile matches where they didn't ignore them, but they didn't promote them in what I would consider the best way possible. I understand you have limited minutes. You really do. And it's possible that they could use minutes on the first night of TakeOver to promote to the second night of TakeOver.
Right.
But this is supposed to be your go-home show, the thing that gets you invested in this stuff.
Now, the big thing is that they were more concerned about, or not really concerned about, but they were booking more towards, like, with the main event being, who are they going to be the 6 guys who fight in the gauntlet match on Wednesday night to determine who's going to be the number 1 contender for the NXT North American Championship on night 2 against Johnny Gargano. And, you know, they were kind of hyping that. The whole thing with Roderick Strong, where Roderick Strong was basically walking out of the arena, and it's like, what does this mean for you in the match for the Battle Royal to determine who's going to be in the gauntlet match? And then, oh, look, Roderick Strong showed up again. And I'm like, I'm shocked. So, but yeah, I was a little disappointed. I love the fact that I think it's Zoe Stark, I think is the girl's name, is the girl who went up against Raquel Gonzalez on NXT this week. And I'll tell you, like, they've been really, really utilizing her a lot.
Tony Stark's daughter.
Yeah. And, you know, they had the 3 girls come in. They were all part of the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
I don't think she's from Pepper Potts, though.
No. But Zoe Stark has been utilized a lot. I know they have a lot of faith in her. She's got a tremendous backstory and everything. And I'm glad she's getting this opportunity, kind of like what they were doing with Leon Ruff, where Leon Ruff was basically fighting everybody and their brother every single week because they know what they could get from Leon Ruff.
Right.
And, you know, she had a great showing against Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez did go over because you got to make her continue to look strong heading into her match against Io Shirai. And then her and Io Shirai had their moment on Wednesday.
But they didn't make Roderick look strong. See what I did?
Yeah.
See what I did? See what I did?
I don't even think Roderick Strong's even in the gauntlet match.
He's not.
Nope. I didn't think he would be either.
But I think he is going to be involved in the match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, baby! I got it. Yeah. Wait
a minute. What's the 0 doing on this piece of paper?
Yeah.
How did you get my brain cells written down on here? That's some bullshit.
Yeah, Billy Corgan had that for a t-shirt. Crazy. Right? Yeah. One of the things we did have this week on NXT is we had the GOAT, Cameron Grimes, beating Roderick Strong in a one-on-one match. And one of the things Cameron Grimes used is he took like a Undisputed Era like armband, wristband, and like threw it on the ground it distracted Strong enough for him to get the victory. And later on, Cameron Grimes was in the Battle Royal to establish who was going to be in the Eliminator match in Night 1 of TakeOver. The top 6 performers in the Battle Royal were going to be are given the opportunity to be in the Eliminator Gauntlet match. And so LA Knight ends up winning the Battle Royal. I believe that this means that he is going to be the last entrant in the Gauntlet.
Probably.
So the way this Gauntlet specifically is set up, I'm going to start 2-on-2. Every 3 minutes, a new person is going to be added in. And, if you're pinned, you're eliminated.
Right.
So whoever ends up winning the Gauntlet match, the next night will go against Johnny Gargano for the North American title. Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Takeover. So as far as this goes, storyline wise, I understand what they're doing with Roderick Strong. You want the focus to be on O'Reilly and Adam Cole, baby. Roderick Strong in another match will take a little bit away from that.
Yep.
So you have Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, baby, going against each other. Roderick Strong has to pick a side.
Yep.
And we will find out where his allegiance lies. I have my own beliefs. And when we get officially into the predictions, I will tell you those.
Yeah?
Yeah? All right. So Raquel Gonzalez did beat Zoe Stark. They have a high opinion of Zoe Stark. It seems a little strange that they keep on having her take losses. But there's also a little bit in there where it's like, all right, well, you can make the other person look good.
Right.
And if we didn't have a belief in you, we wouldn't put you in the ring with this person. So I kind of get that.
I do too. But I do like the fact that even though she is taking a lot of losses lately, exposure is exposure is exposure is exposure. And when people get to see you more on television, the better off you're going to be. And I that's why I'm like, yeah, it's kind of stupid that she's been taking a lot of L's lately, but like she should be, at least she's getting exposure. Sure. Some of these other women who have been, because like, I can't even think of the girl's name, but anyway, there's been a lot of girls that came over from, what was the company they just bought? Evolve, was it? There was a bunch of girls that were involved and only been in like a couple of like vignettes with other people like Cameron Grimes and all that stuff. So, I mean, hey, it's something. Anything's better than nothing.
Right.
So.
All right. So we had Santos Escobar went against Tyler Breeze. And, this was one of those.
A tune-up match for Escobar heading into TakeOver next week.
Where he's going against Jordan Devlin. And, the story they're telling is very similar to Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon going into WrestleMania 10. Where, all right, Shawn Michaels never lost the title, but Shawn Michaels lost his smile and went away for a while. Jordan Devlin here, he was stuck in Europe for the last year. So, as far as this match goes, Santos Escobar was given the cruiserweight. He won it.
Yep.
But Jordan Devlin never lost it and was stuck on, the other half of the world. And now we're going to decide at TakeOver who is the Cruiserweight champion, and it's going to be decided in a ladder match. This definitely has the opportunity to steal the show.
Oh, 100%. They're just two really, really good in-ring performers, and you're going to give them a ladder match, kind of like exactly what they did 27 years ago when Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon fought for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. I'm excited for that match. I'm excited for TakeOver. All just this whole TakeOver thing. I'm so excited for next week.
Yeah,
it's just the only thing that's going to suck about it is because it is Wednesday and Thursday.
See, and that's one thing I want to get into. Like, I understand as far as TakeOver goes, as far as NXT goes. You have developed a brand. You have developed a time where people are expecting to tune in to watch you. And I think with those expectations, you probably will get a larger audience to tune in on Wednesday to watch NXT than you would if you, for instance, today decided to have TakeOver a week ahead of time.
Right.
So I kind of understand, all right, let's do it on the day that they're used to watching our show.
Right.
And then lead them into Thursday. Now, these officially are the first Peacock exclusives. Because Peacock, as of, I think it's April 5th, is the official exclusive home of the WWE Network.
Well, the WWE Network did send out an email saying that as of March 31st, the WWE Network will cease to exist as it is, and it's going to transition over to Peacock. So it sounds about right that April 5th will be the official home of the WWE Network going forward.
Even so, with this, it's like, I don't know, to me, like, big fight feel comes when you watch something on the weekend.
Yeah, same.
And I know that, like, watching it in the middle of the week, like, they may get a bigger audience because the audience is conditioned, like NXT is on Wednesday. But Wednesday NXT feels like ordinary. This is when it should be. It doesn't feel like it's something special.
Yeah, I get
by
that
being
same
in the middle of the week. And I'm going to say they should have had it this weekend.
Oh, I agree. I 100% agree that
it could have been today and tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah. So just one thing as far as like having a live audience is concerned. So WWE was expecting the moment that they put tickets on sale that WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 were going to sell out immediately. Not going to say that they're going to sell out. They are. The 25,000 tickets are going to sell out. You know what they didn't do? Sell out immediately. There are still several hundred tickets left for Saturday night and Sunday night.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to go see this.
So if you want to go to see WrestleMania, there's still an opportunity for you to go. With WrestleMania this year, the fact that people are finally allowed to show up again at these events, allowed to voice their opinion in front of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. You know, I think this is an opportunity for fans to be themselves and loudly tell the chairman of the board exactly what they think, exactly what they feel.
Wow, not only are there tickets available, there's floor seats available. That is nuts. I mean, granted, they want $1,500 for a ticket. With the whatchamacallit, the hard camera staring at you. They have tickets available for that. That's incredible.
So, obviously in WrestleMania's past, anybody in the world could show up to the show. This year, you either need to be a citizen of the United States or you need to have been in the U.S. starting last weekend.
Yep.
So I don't think there are a lot of people who have 3 weeks vacation that could have gotten to the U.S., screwed around for a couple of weeks just so be like, yes, I'm completely clear of the coronavirus. I'm going to WrestleMania. I don't know. But I'm sure there are plenty of fans, but I think there's plenty of fear out there of people traveling on planes, trains, planes, and automobiles that just don't want to take the chance.
Right.
So, it will sell out
eventually.
The 25,000 seats available will get sold, and I don't know what their plans are for the Raw after WrestleMania. Honestly, are they going to be in Raymond James Stadium again, just to be able to have fans? I know they have a new place established, Yingling Arena, I think it is.
Sounds about right.
That's where their new residency is going to be, which it sounds like they're not going to have fans. But like, if I were WWE, I'd be like, yeah, let me do Raymond James Stadium on Monday so I could have fans again.
Right. Oh, it makes sense.
I don't know if they're going to do that. But with all that said, I'm glad we're going to have true fans there. We're not going to have the WWE reaction to the things that they want to have happen, to have the people react the way exactly they want to have them react. Right. I'm a little upset that the Bucktooth Beaver is now going to have options as far as cameras to look at people in the audience, just so we might get that 1 in a million opportunity where we got the bug-eyed dude who was like, oh my God, The Undertaker lost at WrestleMania 30. Like
Angry Miz girl.
Things like that.
Yep.
So there are a lot of matches I am really looking forward to at WrestleMania. The build has not been great for a lot of them.
Agreed.
But I know that Vincent Kennedy McMahon will go all out as far as the pageantry and all the hype, as far as making it look like the greatest thing of all time. It's going to happen. I'm sure he's sad beyond belief that Charlotte Flair is not part of the official card. But yeah.
But speaking of cards, I say we get into our predictions for NXT Takeover.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start with night one.
Oh, wow. What a concept.
Yeah.
The first night is the first night we do.
Is LA Knight on the first night? Yes, he is.
I love it.
But before we get into LA Knight, we've got Pete Dunne, the GOAT, versus Kushida. This match, in my view, is a sleeper match that could possibly steal the show. Night one. And, you know, we had Pete Dunne recently going for the NXT title.
Mm-hmm.
We had Kushida recently going for the North American title. Both these guys could go. Both these guys are freaking awesome.
Agree.
I feel that they, not that they don't like Pete Dunne, Kushida, I feel, is going to win this match. I feel like they want to take him to the next level.
Okay.
And I think Kushida, with his Michael J. Fox vest, he's probably going to have a tab. What did he do? Just jump ship? And I think Kushida is going to win this match.
I'm going with Pete Dunne.
Yeah?
Yep. I just think that what Pete Dunne's been doing, and I think that not only does Pete Dunne win, but somehow, some way, Pat McAfee shows up.
Okay.
Because we're officially in spring, and that's a special attraction moment, so got to go with that.
Not a WrestleMania moment.
Right.
All right. MSK versus Grizzled Young Vets versus Legado del Fantasma. The winner of this match will be the new NXT Tag Team Champions.
I want to say MSK, I really do, but I think it's going to be the Grizzled Young Vets.
I agree with you 100%. Grizzled Young Vets. Legado del Fantasma are one of those teams that a lot of talent, but have not, like there isn't this unadulterated hate for them, and there's not this unadulterated love for them. They're probably going to take the pin.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
MSK has not been there very long. They're fantastic in the ring, but Grizzled Young Vets have had some time, and even if you don't like heels, you have a respect for this team.
Yep.
And I think that's why they win this match.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Which is incredible because I don't have a brain.
All right. So the Gauntlet Eliminator match, we have Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Bronson Reed, Dexter Loomis, and LA Knight. I think I'm missing somebody.
Sad.
Very sad. Very sad.
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes is definitely in that.
Did you say Grimes?
I did not.
That's who it is. It's the 6 guys. It's Cameron Grimes.
Yes. All right. So who do you believe will be going against Johnny Gargano?
My heart says it should be LA Knight, but my brain is telling me it's going to be Dexter Loomis.
I agree. Dexter Loomis, with the story that they have been presenting for the last several months, is the man that needs to be going against Johnny Gargano. By the way, I saw Dexter Loomis, or at least his brother that might have been about 50 pounds lighter, at a restaurant recently.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It was a little freaky.
The wrestling fan in me wants to see LA Knight, a.k.a. Eli Drake, win the match. But I do think that the smart booking would be for Dexter Loomis.
Loomis.
Which means Bronson Reed's probably going to win. But I'm still going to go with Dexter Loomis.
Shit.
No relation to Dr. Loomis.
You sure?
I'm positive.
All right. In a match that you and I are freaking hyped for. Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. You know who else is hyped for this match? Effin Mark's Hall of Famer, Sean O.
Really? Oh,
Because
right.
he wants to see Tommaso Ciampa get his ass kicked. Old man Ciampa.
Which is funny, too, because you know what? I'm going with fucking Tommaso Ciampa to win this match.
Really?
I want to think outside the box. Everything is pointing to Walter winning this match, and Walter should win this match, and Walter's probably going to win this match. But you know what? I want to be different. I'm taking freaking Tommaso Ciampa to win this match.
All right. I'm going to go into DraftKings, and I'm going to put Walter to win this match. Walter now has been the champion, I guess, for 700 plus days. He's spent basically the better part of the year staying at home and being champion. He needs to keep being champion of NXT UK. And when they restart that brand up, they need to have somebody who's established. Speaking of which, before we get into the last match of the first night, one of the things with Triple H in his media call for NXT Takeover, it was kind of talked up of there might be 3 new NXT brands coming up. Now, they've been talking about NXT India, NXT Japan, and I forget what the third place is. I think there might be even NXT South America. So NXT UK, I think, is here just specifically to re-put it on the map as a thing. They put Tommaso Ciampa in this match because he's an established NXT star, former NXT champion, and I don't think this is going to be a squash match. I think it's going to be a little bit more similar to the Dragunov versus Walter match.
Yeah.
As far as it just being an all-out brawl. But this is something to help put a stamp on, like, the NXT brand, not only for UK, but for Japan, for India, and for wherever the heck else they put it, to say that we don't see these as a joke. We don't see as the main US product. It's the only product, the only one that we care about. They want to showcase this is an important brand, and this is somebody we have a lot of respect for, and this is somebody that you should take seriously.
Yes. Makes a lot of sense.
Tommy
put
something. He put something in the chat that is absolutely wrong.
I saw it.
Wrong.
I'm pretending I didn't see it. I'm going to act like it's not there. So we'll just keep rolling with it.
All right. So the main event for night 1 is Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship.
Raquel Gonzalez.
Absolutely agree. I love Io Shirai. She has been an outstanding champion for the NXT Women's division. I just think it's time for a change of the guard.
Agreed.
So
I'm surprised they didn't do it with Toni Storm, but I think that Raquel Gonzalez definitely deserves it because she's been getting pushed that way for the last few months. So I do think this is the time for the changing of the guard.
Yeah?
Yeah!
All right. So night 2, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart going against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell.
I'm going to say that it's going to be Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon are going to win the match.
I am going to disagree, even though I know that they just got the titles. And I
look foolish if they hot potato
keep doing this over and over and over. I don't know. I just feel like Candice and Indy have been doing such good work. I think they want to reward them for what they've done. So All right, so Adam Cole, baby, versus Kyle O'Reilly in a grudge match, more or less for the soul of the Undisputed Era right here.
It's going to be Adam Cole. As much as I want to say Kyle O'Reilly, it's going to be Adam Cole. I will say this. Not only is it going to be the best match of that night, it's not only going to be the best match of NXT TakeOver. I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be the best match of the week next week.
Are you going to say what possibly match of the year candidate?
It's a very distinct possibility that could be a match of the year candidate. I think we have a chance to get a couple of those starting next Wednesday.
Yeah,
I think that Walter and Tommaso Ciampa could be in that conversation. I think that Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly has a chance to be in that conversation. I think that Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor has a chance to be in that conversation. I could see Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair be in that conversation. Seth Rollins and Cesaro, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Although I do think that Logan Paul is going to fucking ruin that like Roddy Piper ruined Bret Hart and Bob Backlund at WrestleMania 11. But it has a really good possibility to be the match of the entire week, if not the year. But I do think that Adam Cole is going to go over on Kyle O'Reilly.
Wholeheartedly disagree with you.
Okay.
I think with a guy like Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole is already made. Kyle O'Reilly is not. If you want a chance to take a guy who has had an incredible 2 matches against your NXT champion and take him up that next level, you take this opportunity right here, right now. Roderick Strong gets involved and helps out Kyle O'Reilly win this match. And Kyle O'Reilly wins this match and ends up taking himself up a couple of notches. And we'll, I guess, get to it shortly, whether or not the next notch is Karrion Kross or
Finn Balor.
All right, so we got Johnny Gargano against who we both agree is going to be Dexter Lumis.
It's going to be Dexter Lumis that walks out with the championship, too.
And I completely disagree with you. I'm going to go with Johnny Gargano.
Okay.
Johnny Gargano, like, I know they've developed this story with Dexter Lumis. I don't know. I feel it's too soon for Gargano to lose the title. I think he's been doing such good work. If we're going to have possibly his wife and Indy Hartwell win the title as The Way and want to make The Way a bigger faction, Gargano needs to win.
Gargano doesn't need the belt for him to be over.
He doesn't.
I think Dexter Lumis, this is Dexter Lumis' time and his opportunity. So, and I would feel the same way if LA Knight actually wins too. I think that LA Knight could actually win the title, but because I think it would be foolish for LA Knight to lose again so quickly after signing with WWE.
Stupid.
So
stupid. Anyway,
idiot.
Another match that could steal the show over the weekend. Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar in a ladder match to decide who is the Cruiserweight champion. I feel Jordan Devlin is going to win this match. Santos Escobar has been the Cruiserweight champion, interim Cruiserweight champion, whatever you want to call him, for a while. In my view, it has not been a reign of note. Jordan Devlin, who had some accusation against him, it seems like WWE did whatever investigation they did and have cleared him of it. But if you're talking about trying to take people to the next level, Escobar, despite a lot of great matches, is not necessarily elevated.
Right.
I think Jordan Devlin right here can be elevated because these two guys could really go in the ring, and I think this match is going to be pretty freaking epic, And I'm going to go with Jordan Devlin winning.
Same. I agree. I think it's going to be Jordan Devlin who ends up taking the match. But I do agree that it's also going to be a very good match and match the night weekend competitor.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Main event of night 2, main event of TakeOver. Finn Balor against Karrion Kross.
The way that they've been booking Karrion Kross since he came to NXT has been tremendous. He's been ripping through everybody. He won the NXT championship only to have the title taken from him because of a shoulder injury that he suffered. Finn Balor kind of took over the reins, surprisingly to a lot of people, took over the reins as NXT champion and has done a fantastic job being the face of NXT as their NXT champion. It is Karrion Kross's title. Karrion Kross never lost the title. So Karrion Kross is going to win back his championship, and him and Finn Balor are going to have a tremendous match in the process. But I am definitely going with Karrion Kross winning back his NXT championship.
I agree with you. And one of the things that Finn Balor said in their hype package for this match was, there's nobody left. And when you're talking about challengers, there really is nobody left. Unless they decided to bring somebody back to go against Finn Balor, similar to a few years ago when they brought Mickie James back to go against Asuka.
Right.
Unless they do that, who is the next challenger? Like, I don't think you sit there and make the Velveteen Dream. He hasn't been doing much of anything. I don't think there are a lot of people waiting in the wings that you're like, I could see that. Like, you could bring back Kyle O'Reilly. You could bring back Adam Cole, baby.
But how many times
But
have you
he's
overcooked
beaten
that? Yeah.
those people. Karrion Kross is a new person who will have new challengers, different challengers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Karrion Kross will win this match.
Agreed.
And, you know, I think they just wanted to give him a couple of months to get back
Right.
to what he was before the injury. He never lost the title, and I think they planned on him having the title for, you know, a bit of time. And Finn Balor as a substitute is not a problem. He's done freaking awesome. His matches with Cole, his matches with O'Reilly have been fantastic. So there are so many matches during those 2 days that really could be something special.
That's why I'm so excited for TakeOver both nights.
And with WrestleMania, there are opportunities for matches to be awesome, but Vince McMahon kind of gets in the way sometimes of them being as awesome as they could be.
Sad.
Yeah. So that is NXT TakeOver.
So I think the next thing to do is our good and our bad and our brainless.
My bad and brainless were almost the same thing this week.
Wow. But what is your good for this week?
It was one of those things that I think would cause an audience to go one way or the other. You either love it or hate it. My good for this week is Seth Rollins' suit. Seth Rollins' suit was Clash of the Champions 13 good. That's what I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
Suit. It was so bad, it was good. If nothing else, he knew that people would talk about that thing that he wore. Whatever it was.
Yep.
So I'm going with that is my good for this week. It brought a certain attention to his match with Antonio Cesaro.
Yep.
And it should be an important match. It should be regarded highly. And I hope it takes Cesaro to the next level. And I hope the stupidity of that outfit that Rollins wore brings Cesaro to that next level. Because, spoiler alert, Cesaro, I believe, is winning that match.
I do too. That's a tremendous good. Not really. It's good and terrible. My good for this week is something that we talked about really early on in the podcast.
Yeah?
Chris Jericho is going to be on the Broken Skull session. That is a tremendous move in the right direction if AEW and WWE decide they want to work together. Chris Jericho is the perfect person to help with that, working that out.
Bridge that gap.
And I'll tell you right now, I mean, in the history of this business, there's not a lot of people who are a bigger name or a bigger draw than Chris Jericho. But, you know, either way, I'm happy that this is going to be happening, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah.
That's why it's my good. So what's your bad for this week?
All right. So this is a variation on what will be my brainless for the week, and we all have the same brainless for this week. But I'm going to go with the character assassination of Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was a dominant ass kicker as a U.S. champion.
Yep.
He wins the WWE title, and then all of a sudden you have him want to hire somebody to beat up Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, if you're a dominant ass kicker, you don't sit there and change your stripes in one day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what they've done with this. I don't like the fact that they like Bobby Lashley wanted, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin to beat the crap out of Drew McIntyre so he didn't have to face him at WrestleMania. They didn't get the job done, so he has to try to get other people. Like Drew McIntyre ended up having 2 matches on Raw, and he won both of them. And then we got King Corbin beating up Drew McIntyre. We know Drew McIntyre is going to go against Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. We know come Monday Night Raw, guess what? Drew McIntyre is going to go against King Corbin and beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
So the fact that they took the ass kicker who was dominant as a U.S. champion and neutered him to be like a chicken shit heel. How do you do that? And the fact that and again, this is going into my freaking brainless. It's going to go into your brainless too. I'm sure.
Oh.
I'm sure it's going into your brainless. It goes into Dave Bautista's brainless. It goes into Mick Foley's brainless. It goes into The Undertaker's brainless. It goes into every human being who watches professional wrestling's brainless, except for one freaking person who came up with the dumbest reason in the world to think this was a thing that needed to be done.
Okay. It's pretty bad. Now, my bad. Now, I'll tell you right now, as much as I wanted to put the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal in any other given week, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal being on SmackDown next week instead of the WrestleMania main card or even the pre-show would have been my bad or my brainless any other time. But this week, doesn't even get discussed. Because Logan Paul being on SmackDown last night is my bad. It's bad enough that you bring in somebody like Bad Bunny, who I had no idea existed until this
Royal
alleged
Rumble.
Booker T song that he had, where I listened to the song and I didn't hear the words Booker or T come out of his mouth once. And now he's got a match against The Miz at WrestleMania. And it's like, all right, well, that's great for night 1. Well, how could we go and fuck up night 2? Oh, I know. Let's put Logan Paul on there. I don't remember if it was him or if it was his ass clown brother, Jake, that was the one that went through the forest in Japan and showed the dude who killed himself in the suicide garden or whatever it was. These guys are not fucking celebrities. I remember the times with WrestleMania where you had Muhammad Ali or Regis Philbin or, Bob Uecker or Liberace or Mike Tyson. Or
Cyndi Lauper.
The main attractions of celebrities that you brought into that thing. Now we're getting Logan Paul and fucking Bad Bunny. But Logan Paul being on WWE television last night is my bad, but not my brainless. And go ahead, Jay. Why don't you announce to everybody what our brainless for this week is? Yes, you don't even need the notebook on it, and I'm glad the cat wasn't there.
The Hurt Business did not need to be broken up. There was nothing about the Hurt Business that needed to be stopped, that needed to be quarantined, that needed to be anything. They should have been pushed to the damn moon. You put the championship on Bobby Lashley and immediately you break them up. Now, I like them keeping MVP with Lashley, good.
Yep.
But having this group as a whole thing, as a conglomeration, is something that you don't want to mess with.
Yep.
They don't need to help Lashley out, but the thought that they could possibly be there is a thing. The fact that you took this thing that was the best faction that you have had since the Wyatt family and the Shield, and you imploded it months, years ahead of time, is ridiculous. You kept the New Day together and continued to keep the New Day together to this day. And I know the main reason is because they sell merchandise. I know the Hurt Business is a heel faction, but you need somebody for the good guys to go against.
Especially
you need to have them feel like there is not an opportunity for the good guy to win.
Especially after your other heel faction that you had. Retribution was such a freaking abomination that you freaking got rid of
but
that.
They chose to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they built that up over months, and then like they turned them into a joke immediately. The Hurt Business built up organically and was like this ass-kicking unit that you went from like ass kicker to like you put napalm on it immediately and just destroyed it. And it was specifically so you can make it so Drew McIntyre would be cheered in front of the audience. That is the only thing that makes sense to me. Everything else to me is stupid and ridiculous.
Yep.
And that is my brainless for this fucking week.
And Jay said it best. I couldn't have said it better myself, so I agree. And I'll tell you right now, I was pretty pissed off on Monday when I saw that. And I was like, this is fucking stupid.
Batista went out on Twitter and was like, nobody wanted this. Shelton Benjamin went on Twitter and like voiced his displeasure publicly about this. MVP and Lashley both went to Vincent Kennedy McMahon on Monday, said, we don't think this is a good idea. And apparently Vince decided, I'm digging my heels in on this, even though they're trying to tell me that this is what they want and they think this is a great idea. No. This is not good shit, pal.
I agree. So if you like what you've seen, whether you are a first-time person tuning in or somebody who has tuned in on more than one occasion, wow, I cannot speak English tonight, and I didn't even drink. Make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, DF and Marks. If you like and follow and subscribe to us, we will do the same back. Has always been our mantra. I'm also going to have some fun this week because it is WrestleMania. So look out on all those social media outlets for some fun ideas that the Brainless One is going to pitch because WrestleMania is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah. All right. And we go live every week on the All Elite Marks page. Make sure you set up notifications for when we go live so that you are notified when we are here and when we're talking, so you could join in with the conversation.
And you get to see this wonderful brainless face of mine.
So
I think that's it.
Yeah. Wait. What? Wait.
There's one more thing.
What's that?
And that's because there's only one person on this planet who's been on all 216 episodes of the podcast after I announce it.
Who is that?
And that is because today, April 3rd of 2021, has an astonishing 2,260 days. Ever marked the life, ever got it, I got. It's still alive. It's 2015 Royal Rumble. You know that the next time I drink on this podcast, I'm going to get blasted. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to punch this wall harder, and I'm probably going to end up at Murderview.
Yeah?
Yeah? So for episode 216 of the F Marks podcast,
I'm Jay.
I am definitely the brainless one. Make sure you mic out
With your guaco. See you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Enjoy NXT Takeover.
And we'll see you right before, I'm sorry, not technically right before, we'll see you during the 10th hour of the pre-show of WrestleMania next Saturday.
Saturday.
All right, everybody. Have
For
a
the
good
rest
one.
of your
We'll
weekend,
catch you later.
everyone. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get